We have reached day 6, your dream. And when I say, what's your dream? It almost sounds like this should be the kind of the end, but it's not. Lead is the final principle. Lead is what pulls everything together that we've learned through the principles of how to empower your leadership for queer integrity up to this point. But dream is really important because it incorporates a number of things. It's not just your vision and how you bring it to life, but it's how you feel. It's how you set up your environment. It's how you manage and are aware of the times of the day and the week in which you use your energy to get the best result and when not. So your dream is more than just this big idea. It is about concretizing, putting into action, and using all of the different principles to maximize the potential that your dream will influence others and have an impact. So we've gone through the principle for how you feel, what you know, how you think, and how you express your voice. Your dream is the culmination of the clarity of the self-mastery that you can develop through the previous principles. How effective your dream is brought out into the world, is birthed into the world, is received by others, is definitely going to be more well received and have a greater impact the clearer you are about the other principles and how they affect everything that you do up to this point. This is where your vision becomes action, where the one thing you most want to create and bring into the world begins to take shape. Oh, the one thing. I want to mention something about that. I am so easily the person who gets distracted. I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this. But the more we focus on multiple things at a time, the less impact we can have, the less we can do for any of those individual things. And the output you would get from working on more than 2 or 3 things at a time is even that much more diminished because you're not able to spend the time thinking in the background, fully working, fully immersing yourself into bringing your dream to reality at the expense of everything else. So focusing on that one dream, that one thing, that if that were the only thing you were to focus on, anything else wouldn't matter or would completely drop off. So let's get into the descriptions for this acronym for DREAM, and that is desire, render, emotion, alignment, and method. Your desire is to clarify the purpose and the vision that moves you. What gives you the greatest emotional state that's going to keep you going on the thing that you most want to do? It gives you your own inspiration and motivation for the one idea that is the most meaningful and absolutely the one worth pursuing at the cost, at the expense of everything else. Render. I used to use the word realize for this, but render is translating your desire into reality using your natural creative strengths, like rendering it, taking it from something nebulous and unclear into something with form, with shape. This is where you bring the vision to life through the medium and the mode that suits you best, through your creative expression and voice, through the way in which you think, and through your key notions of worth. Emotion. This is where we connect back to the first principle of how you feel, knowing what emotional states you want to be connected with that will energize and sustain you through the most challenging times. This is how you feel your freedom, your energy, your enthusiasm, and your love. That way, the work you're doing remains joyful and meaningful. And alignment. This is how you organize your time, your various spaces at home, at work, elsewhere, and your energy around how you naturally do your best work, how you most efficiently do your work so that it's easiest, with the least amount of hindrance, with the least amount of distraction. And that's your rhythm, your natural rhythm that supports productivity and well-being. And finally, your method or your blueprint, whatever word you prefer, your strategy could be another word, but this is your personalized productivity blueprint to make consistent progress towards your vision with confidence and ease and efficiency. So that's knowing all those things previously. And a simple example might be a calendar schedule, knowing that you do certain kinds of work first thing in the day before other tasks, that you perhaps restrict or limit doing other things because those will drain your energy, and you get really good at committing to the different types of work and the different types of day so that you can maximize your output and get the greatest amount of work done, not so much in the amount, but the most efficient work done. So at the end of the day, you don't feel worn out or exhausted. Okay? So ultimately, dream is your personal blueprint or path that's designed for you, by you, not by anybody else. So I want you to consider this question. What stands between your dream and your reality? So I've presented several elements that work together to support the culmination of your dream. And maybe you hold on to some kind of a very large humanitarian dream and one that might never be fully realized in your lifetime. And it depends on many more hearts and minds than your own. Let's say it has something to do with the current state of politics or ideology or climate change. Yes, we might see changes to those things in 5, 10, 20 years, but on some of those things, maybe we really won't see the change until very much later. It might happen in your lifetime, but it might take a very long time. So can you seize onto, can you hold on to, can you conceptualize one small progressive step towards the realization of that dream, the rendering of that dream, something tangible that gives you the ability to focus on a direction and on the actions that you're going to take so that your small part for this larger humanitarian dream does have an impact and does make a difference. Now, conversely, you might be someone who's like, I don't have a dream that big. Do I need to? No. Your dream is your dream. It's your dream for you, by you, right? So it could be something very personal. It could be professional, work related. It could be entrepreneurial. It could be something very creative. It could be a book. It could be a podcast. I don't know what it is. It's fine. It's yours. It's your dream. And whether your dream is like world changing on a large scale or quietly personal that affects you and those closest to you, what matters most is the next step that you take towards it, that you commit to that next step and the next step and the next step. And you associate that with how you most want to feel, which makes it easy to keep going and enjoy the process so you can also notice the successes along the way. So your invitation today is to envision what lies between the snapshot that we took at the very beginning of where you are now and where you want to be. I'm going to say that sentence again. What lies between the snapshot of where you are now and where you want to be? What is in between that? That could be potential roadblocks. That could be, call it goal posts or markers of success. You know that if you achieve this marker, that's fantastic. You can go on to the next one. Because for any project, there will be an associated set of tasks for each project. And each project has sub-projects, right? There's the bigger dream, but what are all the projects that get you there? But we're not going to go into that in this exercise. What I want you to consider is this. If you were to focus on one aspect of your dream framework, your desire, render, emotion, alignment, or method, Which one aspect is the most important to you right now? One example, let's say you are feeling like crap most of the time for whatever reason. Maybe you're having problems sleeping. If you could improve that so that you'd have a different emotional state, one that you desired, how much more would that impact your ability to work on your dream? Which is really what I'm just asking in the second question. Why is it so important for you to focus on that one aspect over all of the others? Now, once you've done that work over time, you can always come back to this exercise and ask you, what's the next one? Okay. But specific, let's just stick with emotion. Let's just say there's something in your way of experiencing your desirable emotions. What are the skills you are lacking that you could learn that would improve that aspect? So maybe there are some skills around how you would sleep better, or maybe there are some skills around how you manage conflict and difficulty, because maybe you're going into the work and you're constantly triggered by your manager or by a staff member or by an employee. Is there a skill you could learn that would help you better manage how you handle yourself in relation to that person, how you communicate with that person so that you're better able to be in the emotional state that you would prefer? Now, what don't you know? What don't you know about that aspect that you need to learn? This is kind of a weird question. It's pretty meta, isn't it? Meta, what a word. What don't you know? You can probably identify the things that you don't know. And then finally, from what you've identified and listed in the questions above, what's the one single easiest thing that you can do right now or first thing tomorrow morning to improve this aspect of your dream? Maybe it's registering for a course. Maybe it is going into your manager and saying, I'm having this challenge. I'm wondering if I would be able to get some assistance with it. Or maybe your employer is going to pay for a program. If it's something to do with your sleep, perhaps there's something you don't know about sleep hygiene that could help. I don't know. Just some examples. But what can you put into place? One small thing that you could measure and see if it gives you improvement over the next 7 days. So, final reflection, the question from the margins. What part of your queerness do you wish to acknowledge or celebrate as essential to your dream, to your vision, to your emotions, to your method? Is there something queer that you want to acknowledge or celebrate that speaks to your vision, your emotional state that you most prefer, and your method, your blueprint for how you accomplish your dream? Have a question? Feel free to ask me. Put your responses in the comments below. And I'll see you for our last practice, our last principle lead in the next day tomorrow.